Hey everyone, how's it going? Clay Blair with Boulevard Recording. Haven't seen you in a while. Studio had a pretty bad fire, and been trying most of the year to get that rebuilt, and also at the same time try to do records, but doing videos hasn't been high on my list. But with the release of Revolver, I got inspired, and we're gonna mess with Paperback Writer because this kind of inspired me. A lot of people are talking about, I've seen a couple of YouTube videos where people are like playing their SG because they saw George playing it in the promo video. George didn't play guitar in the backing track at all. The backing track was live, and it was Ringo drums, Paul Casino through the blonde bassman, Lennon with probably the orange Gretsch through one of the Vox UL 7120 amps. Possibly his black Strat that was actually around in the out of phase position. We're going to try both. I've tried amps, I've tried guitar combinations, and for this, I definitely think Paul was playing the bassman, because Paul was actually recording bass through the bassman on this record. So it was set up, and it's the kind of thing where I feel like if it was the rhythm track, the backing track, it's all patched in. You know, the D20 that was on Paul's bass amp, the blonde bassman, that's what he's plugging into to play. I mean, it really sounds like it to me, especially when you compare it with the original. And George is on tambourine, and you can actually hear in the outtake, you can hear George saying that it's getting faster. And you can hear him very clearly, which means he was in front of a vocal mic. Paul, you can't hear. You can hear him like ooh, in the background. That's because I think Paul was in the room with the guitar. He didn't do a scratch vocal. He just kind of did the Paperback Writer, boom. So one big change to Revolver from all the other sessions was that they got a new engineer. Jeff Emmerich, very young, came on as a balance engineer after he had been a cutting engineer first for a couple years. Two different microphones in question on the guitar on Paperback Writer and probably Taxman too, when we're talking about the solo. I believe that they were using whatever was on the amp. So if it was George or John and their UL amps, it was U47 or U48 in cardioid probably. And if it was Paul's amp, if it was guitar, if it was bass, they were using, well, I guess technically it was George's blonde bassman, but they were using a D20 for the bass parts. But I think they would just plug in and keep going, because think about it, if they're working on something and the backing track is already patched in, Paul's bass amp, their guitar amps, whatever, there's a vocal mic up, I guess, for the Paperback Writer, and they are patching in. They're not going to switch around a bunch of mics and patches just because they want to put a 47 on the amp Paul's playing through. So they probably just left it on there, and then they went back and did the bass.
She said
Most of the sound of Revolver is right here in this picture when it comes to guitars. Casino, SG, U47 and U48s, the Bassman, the Cab, and the UL 7120. This is the Oso. This is not the UL, but it is a replica of the UL 15. So it's similar to the UL 730. It's just half as much output, but the front end's all the same. So the sounds we are getting are that amp, whether it be with KT66s or EL84s. Although I would say probably that this thing is going to be a little chimier than the ones with the KT88s. I mean, not the KT66s. That's it. Abbey Road, a tube desk, maybe some Altec compressors, Fairchild's going in, Brilliance boxes, super important to guitar tone. Anyway, thank you for tuning in, and more to come.